father puts a curse on his people, betraying his family in search of the truth, awakening the evil behind the curse. Now they must race to save their people, or die trying.
What's up, George? What's going on in the house of Craze tonight?
Woo! In the house of Craze tonight. This time, we really do have Mr. Chris Fisk on the show. We're going to be talking Infinite Tale, Chronicles, The War of the Trees. So check that out. It's coming up right
now. Let's get it.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the Dreamer, Medina, and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to the Catch the Craze podcast. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Fair, and I am with
George the Dreamer, Medina. What's happening, Sam?
I love that opening line.
Which one?
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread the word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the Dreamer, Medina, and Sam the Crazy Man. I love that. That's just fly.
Why wasn't the beat going while you were doing that, bro?
I know, right? That was hot.
I feel you.
Acapulco.
I feel you. You did
What's up, Martino? Into his house.
San Martino's in the house. Listen, he's like clockwork, bro. That 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. That's it. That's the only time he's allowed to come out and play. It's like little Timmy can't come and play till 8 o'clock.
Listen, for those who don't know, big shout out. Well, first of all, welcome everyone to another exciting episode of Catch the Craze. We are live once again. We have another very, very talented indie artist on the show today. I got his name right this time. Chris Fisk is going to be talking to us about his Indiegogo campaign.
And he does a lot of things. I mean, not just comics. I mean, the guy's got his hands in a lot of stuff.
That's right.
Pretty dope.
That's right. I was watching the trailer or the opening, the video that you guys will see on Indiegogo. That thing is legit, dude. Like
too legit, too legit.
But going back to our buddy, Mr. Michael Sammartino. Michael Sammartino will be on the show later on. Actually, next month, in the middle of next month, he'll be on the show promoting his book, Technique Gods. I happened to get some advanced copies of the book as well as you did.
Yes, I got mine in the mail today.
Yes, very, very good story. It moves, bro. It's really, really good. And I'm not just saying that because he's like a friend of the show. Yeah. The dude really did his thing.
He's saying it because he's a friend of the show.
When he wrote it out. Dude, there's a crossover. He sent me a message earlier today. There's a crossover that he's thinking about doing one with Viejo. Because one of his characters, they could be variants. When you read the book, and we are actually going to feature the book on the What's in the Box.
What's in the Box, Mr. Sammartino? So
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. So I'm going to hook it up and
his lawyers, he's good with it.
It's going on What's in the Box, homie.
He's good with it. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that.
I'm going to open it and the whole thing.
He said, friend of the show. That's how we roll. That's an industry term.
Yeah.
It's an industry term. Come on.
Yes. He's a friend of ours.
It's a friend of a friend. We know a guy.
Yes.
But yeah, no. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. Mike, thanks for chatting as always. And it is definitely fuego. But yeah, man. So let's give them updates in case they didn't catch the first show. Sam.
Yeah. So if you weren't on the first show, yes. If you weren't on, where was that? Where is that damn thing?
He should have these things accessible to us.
Accessible. In other news, so so basically, the Kickstarters went out today. So you should have received an email for the digital versions, and the physical copies were picked up by the Postal Service today, and it's on their way, with the exception of 5 of you. There are 5 of you that haven't responded to my emails or the surveys, and I don't have your address. So please check your emails, check your spam box, check your junk mail. I can't send it to you if you don't send me the information. Help me to help you. And so that's pretty cool. And Indiegogo just gave me the funds, so the backers on the catch-up campaign from Indiegogo, those will be going out. It's getting packaged tonight or tomorrow morning. It depends on how I feel tonight. But it'll be packaged tomorrow, definitely, and out. What's today? Wednesday?
Today is
Tuesday. Oh, yeah. So Thursday morning, it'll be in the Postal Service hands and on their way to you. So those 2 campaigns are over. And also, this commission piece is going out as well. I just finished it.
Nice.
That commission piece is going out to a supporter of the one of the campaigns, and so that's going out in the mail tomorrow. So that's done. And the next thing is going to be the November 1st live launch of Forbidden number 2, The Hunt, on Indiegogo and Kickstarter simultaneously. Dual. So join us 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we got some surprise things coming down the pike. Working on some stuff. Going to surprise you guys with big announcements, big news coming, and so it's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to this one. This book we introduce Primi Santra, who takes over the helm. Yeah, the book's done, but he did the artwork from issues 2 to 6. Ani Balaro did the artwork from issues 0 and 1, but he has the cover on issue number 2, and there's the variant cover. So that variant cover is an homage cover to Kingdom Come with Superman by Alex Ross, and that is Sin on the cover. That is an homage cover that you'll be able to get on the campaign as well, and that's by none other than Sam the Crazy Man Vera.
Who's that? Who's Sam the Man Crazy?
That man, he's my... Oh, he's so dreamy. I love him.
You in love.
Yeah. So basically, I wrote the story, but I do a lot of the variant covers on this, and you'll be able to get in this campaign every single cover that was done for the first 3 issues, and there's about 15 of them. There's about 15 covers, and but done by me, Anibal, and David Keeler. So 3 artists, 15 covers. What's up, Fisk? Fisk at his house will be coming in soon. So that's what's going on in the Go-Go. But if you're watching this right now, hit that like button, subscribe, help move those algorithms on YouTube. We need to get monetized, and the more of you that subscribe to the show, again, the greater the reach. That means every time we have a guest, that's 1 more, 2 more people that they're going to reach on the show, because we're not just on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter and Facebook. We're also on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcast, Google Cast, Apple Play. We're everywhere. So you can stream it. You subscribe to any of those platforms, and you can get every episode we've ever done. On top of, you can watch it live and enjoy George. He's no longer in the closet, which is pretty cool.
There's a reason. There's a reason for that.
The reason's that we're here.
There's a reason why I'm here. Actually, my closet has. I was kicked out. Of the closet.
So your hat's no longer on the walls?
No, the hats are still there.
Okay.
The thing
they got replaced by shoes and handbags?
I was kicked out because we are packing. We are actually on our way.
That's right.
Yeah, we are getting ready to go to England That's right. I'm moving to England. I'm just kidding.
Into the thick of it.
I am.
Into the thick of it.
I'm going across the pond. We are going out there for a couple of weddings. So we're going to be out there for a week. And so, there's a lot of stuff in the closet. Obviously,
George got deep. He got deep pockets. He flying first class to London. London Bridge is falling down.
This is a big plane. I'm probably gonna be in the back seat. In the back of the plane. It's expensive to travel internationally.
Yes.
Plus, I had to go get a COVID test today, which took forever. Like, I'm talking about, I got there like at 12. I didn't have an appointment because you can't even make appointments there. You can't even get a COVID test. So I had to go to the a location where like it was first come, first serve. I got there at 12. I didn't get my COVID test till like 3 o'clock. Like 3:30, dude. It was like a 3.5 hour wait. Luckily, they gave us like basically we'll text you when it's your turn to come back and do what you got to do. So yeah.
Wow.
It's annoying, but yeah, we have to take it so that we can fly out there, and then when we're there, we got to take another one, and then before we come back, we got to take another one. It's just out of control.
Is it up the nose? Is it
up the nose, baby?
Oh.
But it was a rapid test, so it was just around the rim of the nose. It wasn't even like how they usually touch your freaking
pull out portions of your brain. Yeah, it's like what the hell? When you hear a crunch, you went too far. Yeah, it's like slow down.
It's like that scene from Total Recall. It's like he's going in.
Yeah, it's like what the hell?
But yeah, no, it was the rapid test. We did a quickie, which took 3.5 hours to take to get one, but it was like 5 minutes to take, and then so everything's negative. We're ready to go.
Wow, it's going to London, big time. Going to those fancy restaurants.
We're gonna do a Jack the Ripper tour.
Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper.
Right. We're gonna be where we going? I'm going to the Charles Dickens Museum. His home.
Damn, I'm jelly, bro. I'm jelly.
Yeah. Supposedly there's a bar in England that where Charles wrote Tale of Two Cities, and the chair where he sat down and like wrote the book is still at that pub. They've never gotten rid of it, so it's just there.
It's like I have a fascination for locomotives, right? Trains and like old fashioned ones. And I one of the things I want to do is like whether it's Switzerland, taking a train across the mountains of Switzerland,
nice,
and but I also want to take a train ride that oh my God, J.K. Rowling when she wrote Harry Potter.
Oh. Right.
I want to know what that ride was like and how that inspiration, where that inspiration, because you find inspiration in the darndest of places, and so just the fact that she was taking the train back and forth, and that's where she got her inspiration just by looking out the window. I think that it's fascinating. It's one of those things I want to do.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a good time. Be out there for a week, and then when we come back, actually, we're gonna have Michael on the show live. So.
Yes, Mr. San Martino. Yes, I haven't opened up the package. I'll do the unboxing on the what's in the box. So that's gonna be pretty dope.
Big shout out to not just him, but also like you were talking about Anibal, because he's doing the cover for this next campaign. That second cover you showed, he did a cover for Technigods for Michael's. So he's quite the cover artist, Mr.
Anibal. Yeah. We're gonna make him famous. We're gonna create a demand for Mr. Arroyo's Compollos. Right. Yes. I already elevated his stock, bro. We sold that one original art piece for 5 beans, so we elevated his stock. So that's pretty cool. So but he's a talented artist. I love the fantasy stuff that he does. But that's pretty awesome. Yes. But tonight we're going to be talking to another fantastic creative. Who does gaming design, he does comic books, does everything, and he has a campaign going on right now. What is that campaign, George?
Infinitale Chronicles, The War of the Trees, book number 1. Now, there's a notice to the backers on the Indiegogo campaign. If you haven't gone yet, make sure you do so. The link is in the
chat,
in the chat,
in the summary.
In the summary. But one of the notice to backers that Mr. Fisk would like you all to know is that regardless if the campaign succeeds or not, all backers are guaranteed to receive their perks when the campaign ends. Why? Because this campaign isn't to fund the book, it's to gauge interest. So make sure you get in on the ground floor.
That's a very interesting perspective.
Series. Yeah, I love that. I like that.
that
I
is-
love the fact that he's very honest with you right off the bat. Look, listen, you're going to get your book regardless, okay? Come in here, support it. This is to gauge your interest for this book. Now, I got to tell you, I saw the, he's got a few videos on the page itself. The first video is basically just like a trailer. It's incredibly professionally done. The voiceover in it is off the hook. It's the production value in this thing, Chris, phenomenal. He's got another thing here. He's got an update, and this one's it's like a 21-minute video on here, just talking to you about the update on the campaign and I guess on the book. I didn't get a chance to see the whole thing, but this thing is legit. I mean, he's put a lot of work into it, and it shows. So, guys, you guys are gonna have to go.
I mean,
in there.
even from the branding, the logo design, I mean, the
it's
coloring of it, just, and you could tell that he does this as a profession, because I mean, he really put a lot of quality and detail into this. I mean, the cards, jeez Louise, dude, come on, give us novices a break, right? These pros, man, they come out of nowhere and they just bang. How'd you like that? Right in your face. But no, I mean, I'm looking at Aislinn, the card, the front of it.
Mm-hmm.
Beautifully done. Beautifully done. I mean, it's just,
this artwork is incredible, man.
my gosh. But yeah, looking forward to talking to him. So far, he's got 37 backers. Whoa, 37 backers, 33 days left to go. 12% raised. It's a healthy, lofty goal, but he does have a flex goal, which is really great. So 37 backers, I know, come on. We've seen a lot of campaigns, hundreds of campaigns. But, this right here, there's no reason why this shouldn't make the goal. Just look at the quality of it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And if you guys, if you go to his website, the website is incredible. I mean, this is some top-notch level right here, baby.
Yeah.
We got some good stuff coming down the pike. So definitely check it out before we even talk to him. Right now, go check it out. Pledge, come back, because we're going to be talking to him. We're going to be asking him some of his secrets. See if he can tell some of his trade secrets.
Yeah,
and how
no.
he get some of this stuff accomplished, because it's
He's on beast mode. It reminds me of in junior high school, right? You knew your how smart you were by a letter, right? If your class started with A, that means you were the top of the class, right? If your class started with B, you were a B student, right? See, that's how they did it. So it was like B 806, right? And so or A 102. So
what class were you in, Sam? What class were you
I was a B student. And my boys were A students, right? And I was always pissed, right? Because I wanted to hang out with the A students. That's this guy. That's Chris Fisk, right? He's the A class, and I'm like, yo, I want to hang out over there. Man, I gotta get my grades up. I'm staying at the 90s. I'm at 90, 88, 90. I can't get past the 88, 90. And I'm like, come on, right?
Yo, Michael said, yo, George, get comfortable. It's story time with Sam.
Oh shit!
I told you,
you
the friend of the
crazy.
show. He knows what's up.
It's story time.
He's been around.
Hercules. Yeah, man. No, but yeah, it's like one of those things. It's like when you go to the gym for the first time and you got basketball, right? And you're like, you think the tallest, coolest kid, and then you got these guys that come in, they're trees. You're like, come on, I was supposed to be the tallest guy. It's like, come on, man, give a boy a break. I'm gonna go join volleyball.
This is definitely wow. Okay. Hey, listen, don't knock it.
Don't
bro.
knock it.
Volleyball's
I
tough.
was
Volleyball's tough.
on a volleyball team, all girls. I was the only dude.
Jesus.
I was like, hello.
Oh my God. Anyway, just so you guys know, the book and card. There's a book and card bundle on the it's one of the perks on the Indiegogo for Chris's Indiegogo. And the bundle comes with the 50-page book. It's all color. And then 9 collectible cards. So you have 9 collectible cards, all for a whopping $23. $23. So there's only 50 of those. So you better go in there and claim them fast. because they're gonna go pretty quickly. And the estimated shipping date on this thing is November 2021. So it's coming. It's right around the corner. You pledge today, that thing's in your house in November. So
Yeah, the Genzelman cover looks like it's the most popular cover so far.
Okay. Yeah, he's got so you can get digital. You got a digital edition. You got the standard edition. You got Michelle Hoffner cover. It's a variant. Genzelman. So that's the one you're saying. Yeah, that one's got 15. People have already pledged to that. Oh, he also has an epic bundle, 5-pack plus 1 poster. That's what's up. Look at that. Yeah. Ultimate bundle. You get everything, bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that the guys, and we had Michael T. Gonzalez on the show prior to this show, and I like how the guys have kept it very simple, man. Very simple.
Yeah,
you know?
that's what I learned. I learned with the last Forbidden campaign. It was just too much stuff. It was very complicated. The next one is going to be a little more simplistic, keeping it easy peasy, getting it out the door. But yeah, so we're looking forward to talking to Mr. Fisk. Sounds like a name out of a movie, right?
Pen, baby.
Yeah, that's what it is, right? Yeah, I knew that. See? Smarty Yardy went to the party.
There you go,
so, so with that said, we're going to cut to commercial. And when we come back, we're going to bring Chris Fisk in to talk about his campaign. And again, if you have a campaign and you're looking to promote it ahead of time, and again, if you have a campaign, if you're not promoting it at least 3 months in advance, you're going to have a hard time making it. So here's an opportunity to promote on one of the hottest and the fastest growing podcasts out there.
Are you sitting at home wondering how you're going to spread the word about that Comic-Con that you're about to appear at, and you want to get some press? How about your first book signing? How do you spread the word so you can get an audience there? Or that first panel at a Comic-Con? Who do you talk to? Or even your first crowdfunding on Kickstarter or Indiegogo? The world is turning to podcasting to get the word out. Why not you? Sponsor an episode of Catch the Craze and start promoting yourself today.
All right. We're bringing, look at that background. You got the whole gaming setup and everything.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's awesome.
There he is. What's going on, Chris? How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Excellent, man. Excellent,
Thank you for
coming on, man.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime. Your work is pretty dope. I just dated myself because I'm using the word dope. But
That's back. That word is back.
that's right. So introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are, even though we were raving about your stuff a minute ago. But let everybody know who you are.
Oh, cool. Thanks. I'm Chris Fisk. I'm the writer, contributing artist, and creator of the Infinite Chronicles comic book series. We have this campaign going on Indiegogo, if you haven't heard. And currently it's book 1 for the War of the Trees saga.
Nice.
That's awesome, brother.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. So before we talk about the product, we always want to know about our guests. So where'd you grow up, and when did you realize that you wanted to create?
All right, I'm sorry, but I definitely wasn't an A student. I was a really dumb kid. In fact, I kind of owe this project to my literacy, which is kind of a weird way of getting an education. But I was about 12 or 13, and I was dyslexic, undiagnosed, the whole shebang.
Right.
Dumb kid, problem kid, screaming in the classroom, you name it. And poor student. And one of my friends was like, hey, you're playing weird with your G.I. Joes and making rules with them and stuff. And, I got bit by the I can make a video game bug back in like the everybody had the NES or the NES. I had the Master System. So I had all of the Sega stuff. And there was amazing games on there that a lot of like my friends didn't know about because everybody had Nintendo. And I had this.
Did you have Game Gear? Is that what it was at the time?
No, it was the Master System. It was right.
Oh, the Match.
Yeah, it was the kind of the 8-bit equivalent to the NES. And yeah, it was the loser in America. Like everybody had, you know, we don't have a Nintendo, you know. They even call it like the Nintendo. It says like Sega right across it. So, but there were some games on that, and that was kind of what started me down the video game development road. And I had this one friend who noticed that I was trying to make games and all this stuff, and we were so dorky. He's like, "Hey, there's this fantasy club at the Pelham Public Library. Why don't you join us?" I was like, "I'm gonna get my ass kicked on that." So we ended up going, and holy crap, that was like my Hitchcock camera moment. It got me again. I was, you know, basically illiterate, and you needed to learn how to read if you wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons. And there were a lot of older kids there, and you know, they were pretty merciless. And we had a librarian, and it's just like, you know, we're holding contests, and one of them was, you know, write the newsletter. How the library could like extract money from the kids was like, well, we'll give you a monthly newsletter, you know. And so I wrote all of the initial kind of episodes of the game sessions to keep people up to date on them. And eventually I got bit by my own, you know, arrogance of, well, I can make one of those because I'm already a game maker, you know. And no, it sucked. It was really bad, but it evolved over time. I kept going through it, and I used the library's wealth of, I'm going to date myself here, but, you know, before the welcome, you've got mail, we had the library with the Dewey Decimal System and the Encyclopedia Britannica, and I basically used all of that to research what I was going to do for a game, and that took about 8 years. And this was like in the early 90s. This was like 1990, 1991. And I started doing it. I started making the game, and I used the local guinea pig, kids to test this. And we ended up creating, you know, the honesty of like strangers, especially kids, is super helpful when you're doing stuff like this, because your friends are your worst like support loops, or at least your feedback. Like you try to get feedback from them, like, oh yeah, that's really nice. And meanwhile, the strange kid, the 10-year-old's like, this is terrible. This sucks. You know, it's like, okay, you know, but it helped, and I did it for, you know, about a decade, and you know, then I kind of graduated high school and went off to university, and I was, you know, put the childish things aside, and boy, did that suck. It was it was like that thing that I said in Michael Gonzalez's thing in the chat, where dreams don't really die, they just go to sleep.
It's true. It's true.
Put this thing to bed, and then after university, I had a soul-devouring job for about a half decade in the newspaper, fun stuff late at night. And then I ended up getting a job in the gaming industry, video game development. And I started as narrative designer, then I went into UI, then I went into systems, then I went into content, the whole shebang. And the thing that I learned in the gaming industry is you never make your game. So, you know, and not only that, but the video game industry, man, like if I could be more, like if I could have that pep talk for kids that are like, you know, prospective teenagers or 20-something, don't go into video game development. Like go into, it's an industry that's designed to chew up naive 20-somethings, work them like a dog, and then poop out a bunch of bitter, jaded 30, 40-somethings.
Wow.
And
damn.
Yeah, well, I mean, this one game I worked on, I don't care anymore. That bridge is smoldering. I worked on this thing called Defiance. It was a TV tie-in with the Sci-Fi Channel, and we had like a 9-month crunch, and they thought that in order to compensate, they just give us like really crappy pizza. And being East Coasters, like I think we're well aware of how awful California, like the crimes California commits against pizza. Like, who puts couscous on a pizza? So yeah, they work you like that, and then once they limp over the finish line, they're like, oh yeah, thanks for your services, laid off, you know, and it's just rinse and repeat. You get tired of that, and eventually I was just like, yeah, I'm done with this, and I ended up going in a completely different direction. I was grateful I was able to leverage my my skills in web development. The only problem is I felt like creatively constipated after that. I felt like, damn, like I'm not doing like any cool shooting stuff or swords and whatever. So I ended up reawakening that dream, and I picked up the storage bin that I had, and this thing came with me everywhere: Australia, Japan, Southern California, everywhere.
Wow.
And so 30 years in dormancy, and I started looking through it, and I was like, wow, I actually have a viable game product here. Like, there's a tabletop game here. Unfortunately, we're now in 2020, or at the time, after the 2000s, video games kind of took over. Pen and paper became more niche. But I did have the stories. I did have all the chronicled stories, and I was like, holy crap, this is like a good story. Like, and what I did was when I was developing my game system, rather than Dungeons and Dragons, where it's like a bunch of murder hobos, as they call it, where you just get a group of people together, randomly hodgepodge, and they go off and kill something. And it's very linear, very railroaded, as they call it, and it doesn't make for a good story. I mean, sometimes it might, but like, let's look at the Dungeons and Dragons movies. Did those really? So when I was developing my system, it was based more on stories, like Infinitale. It's like a portmanteau of infinite and tale. And the idea was that when you play these games, no two games are the same. So when instead of a dungeon master, you have something called the narrator, who sets up the story, and you have rising action, climax, falling action, conclusions, all that stuff, a 5-act system, but it's all done in a way where a user almost creates, or a narrator almost creates like post-it, where they're like, okay, here are my plots, here are my settings, here are my cast of characters, and then here are my conclusions. And when players think they get a little wise to your story, well, you've got a whole series, like a lattice of different rising actions or different climaxes, or even different conclusions, which means what they think they're getting into, you can actually go, no, we're going over here now. And they don't, it keeps them guessing, and it keeps the story fresh. And another element of it was the players were the ones that told the story. The narrator just set the scene. And that's what I'm hoping that the Chronicles, it's kind of a proof of concept for story creation, where the players are the ones that are presenting the story, essentially. And in fact, I know it's super nerdy, but my original tagline for the game was, because I kind of had to learn Latin for one of the systems. So the tagline was "Dete fabula narratur," which is "This is your story." And I ended up getting rid of it, obviously. So it was like way too you're trying to, like, as it is, I look at, I second guess all of my marketing decisions, all that stuff, like Infinitale. Who the hell can even pronounce that? Too many syllables in this damn name. But yeah, but it was interesting to see that like improv of acting. Like, usually when you play Dungeons and Dragons with the nerds, they just get a bunch of stuff and go and kill stuff, and it's all mechanics. It's very video game-ish. Whereas in the Infinitale system, it was more like an improvisation acting class, and you had players that were rewarded mechanically for being the bigger ham, hamming it up. Like, you had components of your character that you built into their personality, like their archetypes. Like, I'm the scoundrel, I'm the Han Solo character, or I'm the naive fanboy, the Luke Skywalker character, or something like that. And you get to play to them, and you can change them or whatever. But it's still, it was interesting that rather than relying on a single dumb dyslexic kid's brain to tell the story, we had a whole gamut of different players, from librarians to young kids, older kids, and their characters, like, themselves shine through their characters. I mean, heck, in Infinitale Chronicles, this first book, the main character, Ashlyn, she's clearly not me. It's difficult for, for the George Lucas effect, only go with what you know. You're not going to write something you don't know, like George Lucas trying to write romance. You don't extend, you're soft. So it was interesting to see how the player who created this Ashlyn character, how she navigated through the adventure. And the whole Infinitale Chronicles itself is an ensemble cast. It's not just one. It's not a story of just one character. This isn't like the standard comic book where you have like Iron Man and that's it, or then you can do the crossovers. No, this is the world. The setting itself is almost the main character, and we're seeing kind of different stories unravel through them.
Interesting. Yeah. No, you mentioned you carried these stories with you through the different places where you traveled as well. Is this something that you were trying to pitch, like when you were in the gaming industry, were you trying to pitch this as a video game that they basically were like, nope, you're working on this for 9 months, put that aside, that's not what we're doing this? Is that how it basically went down, I guess?
Well, so my first foray into game development was for a company called Offset Software. They were an indie company, and that was exactly what I did. I was like, hey guys, check this out, and that was the reality, smack in the face was you get these seasoned veterans who are like, yeah, okay, everybody's got the idea. And I just remember one guy, one of my leads, he's looking through the story. He's like, yeah, there's just one big problem with this part. What's that? This chick isn't hot. I was like, oh, come on. It's like, yeah, this is like, you got to sell it, man. And I'm like, well, but that's not part of it. He's like, it was. And at the time, I was just like super resentful, but you gotta listen to all feedback. I mean, as a UX designer, you gotta qualify and quantify it, and it's got to go somewhere in the file system. And he was right on the money, though. He's like, if you got to find your audience, and you got to know your audience, and then you have to present them with something that they like. You can't Bolshevik market it and tell somebody, hey, this is what you should like. You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, unfortunately, that's kind of why I got into the indie comic stuff, was because I found a lot of the mainstream stuff does that. It tells you should like this, you should think this way, and it's like, no, this is like, people should think for themselves. Like, if they could get something completely out of these stories that's completely different from what the writer intended, and more power to them. If they like the story, that's awesome. Yeah.
No, I definitely, we were talking about it before you came on, how much work you've put into just like Sam was talking about, the branding, and even like the videos that are up on the screen here, like the voiceover acting and all that other stuff. There was a lot of work that was put into it. What are some of the things that you call yourself a contributing artist on it? What does that mean exactly, the contributing artist?
Well, I used to be an artist when I was younger, but I ended up getting an autoimmune disease that kind of ruined my hands. So goodbye art, and that's why there's a $12,000 stretch goal. Because if you can't do it yourself, you got to pay others.
Yeah.
So contributing wise, I'm more of a graphics artist now. The logo design, all of the kind of the layout, or I should say, there's elements of the book that you'll see beyond the actual story. Things like a character overview. I did some of the card stuff. The actual characters in the cards were done by this Australian artist. He goes by the name Zed Edge, and he did the background and the character themselves, but the framing and the back, when you flip it over and you get all that information, that's all me. So
it's beautifully done, man.
It is. So, I find it interesting, when you said that you were dealing with, being dyslexic, and how did you overcome that and to be able to focus on creating this mega world?
Pure, unadulterated rage. One thing I found that people are willing to really go through crap if it's something they enjoy doing. If you're salmon swimming upstream, I mean, hell, that was me in the gaming industry. I felt the whole 10 years I was in it that it was like, this industry really doesn't want me. It's like, I'm going to be here anyways, do my best, I'll show them. But that's how it felt with dyslexia, is that when I got into, creating this game, the first thing I noticed right off the bat with Dungeons & Dragons was the world is only as big as the dungeon master, or only as big as the storyteller. So if they're like really limited in their knowledge and they're kind of dumber than the players, it becomes a scenario where the players know more of the world than the person who's explaining it to them, and they end up feeling very confined to it, where it's like, oh, that's what happened, or what does deciduous mean, or stuff like that. So I researched it. Again, it was painful, slow. I mean, my internal reading is about as fast as my voice, which I guess because I'm blathering could be construed as fast. But normally it's not very quick. So I ransacked the library in Pelham and just read every book I could on any subject. And I got this, like, I'm awesome at trivia, but it's like, you can't tie your shoe, you know, the Rain Man effect, the idiot savant or whatever. But I've come to realize that has helped me become literate, because if I didn't go through that, if I didn't have the librarian help me and be like, you know, I think you actually have a knack for writing. Like, this is incredible, blah, 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 blah. You're a good drawer. So, you know, put these two together, you got yourself something visually compelling and a decent story. But yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm looking through your Indiegogo. I mean, you have 10 books completed of this thing. That obviously with the stretch goals, we can see more and more of these books. But the fact that you, like Sam was, you know, the question about how you obviously overcame all of that and then some, you know what I mean? Like, and it's inspiring for kids out there who may be going through the same thing, who think I'll never learn, you know, I'll never be able to do that. Yes, you can, you know, yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. And so
and the reason why I asked is because my wife also struggles with dyslexia, and the learning process, it is slowed down, and it becomes repetitious. Like she would have to read the same things multiple times to process it, because there's a delay, and sometimes the retention is limited because your mind is thinking about so many things. So what I find is, like, she has like 1,000 thoughts, and to focus on something, she has to create that perfect environment in order to do so. So when you said that, I just found it pretty fascinating that you were able to accomplish so much, and create such an amazingly vividly, beautifully illustrated. I mean, it sounds amazing. The detail, the attention to detail, everything about it is just beautiful. So you know, it's a testament to your passion for what you do.
Thank you. I mean, if anything, there's a YouTuber that I watch. She does tech review videos. Naomi Wu, Sexy Cyborg, and one of her taglines is, "If I can do it, anyone can do it." You know, I mean, I fully subscribe to that. It is, you know, just because it's more difficult, you know, don't say can't unless there's a gun to your head. You know, you can do this. Like,
absolutely, absolutely. So you said you designed. So where did you get the inspiration for the logo, the branding?
So the logo, I reached out to I believe he's a Bulgarian UI designer named Sergei Punchev. He's got his own Punchev Studios, and I had drafted up some designs initially showing, because we wanted to get that whole Sylvan, the foresty element to it, and part of the story is actually contained in the logo. With the back is almost like a stone portal of some sort.
Right.
And I ended up modifying it slightly because I have a background in After Effects as well. So when I did the slide out of chronicles and, you know, the glows and stuff, but that was basically it was Sergei's kind of refinement initially of the, you know, the lettering. Like, he actually built me the font, which was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, his site, like, his stuff is amazing. Like, should check it out sometime. But when we were going back and forth on stuff, it's like, well, what about this? What about that? So I had this whole library of like awesome like what ifs of what the Infinitel logo would look like. It's like, oh, I kind of like that one. I kind of like this one. I kind of like, okay, we're settling on this one. So, you know, we have what we call the Dannon logo.
And how much of the actual palette, the colors, were you involved in?
Quite a bit, actually. You know, the whole color theory thing. We're trying to distinguish the branding from the material itself. So that yellow and the green and whatever, it pops out more than the if it was like a metal, you know, steel or orange or whatever. Even though Chronicles is kind of an orange.
But I think the glow makes it kind of pop.
Yes.
You know, when you throw that glow in there, kind of makes it come out.
It complements it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got the color wheel and you just go, and it's like this.
Absolutely. So now let's talk about the character designs, and who was involved. How did you reach out, and how did you communicate with the people that are working with you on the project?
So initially, the character designs were done by me back in the high school days, 1990s, when I was fancying myself as an artist. And they went through some iterations here and there. There was some inspiration for 90s anime. I was a huge fan of Saturday morning cartoons back in the early 90s. Remember things like Pirates of Darkwater or the original Dungeons and Dragons? Like, I love that stuff, or Conan the Adventurer.
Yeah.
So I would take inspiration from their designs, and then I would kind of put it on its side, if that makes sense. Because I didn't want to make it that's totally, if you're going to rip something off, you don't want to make it blatant. So when I brought these designs to the more modern descriptions, or what we're seeing today, I brought them to Zedge, who initially was who still is actually, helping me with the art for the tabletop game that I'm designing. And we're like, okay, here's what the races look like. And we have the whole kind of Bible mapped out. Like, this is how this race should look. This is how, like you'll notice, for example, all of the artwork, you'll see that the elves in this universe are barefoot, or, there's a reason for that. When I was doing research, again, back in the library, we did research on like the old Eddas from Iceland, the Snorri Sturluson's Volsung saga, or even the Hibernian, the Irish mythology, like Cadgapo, which the War of the Trees actually means, which, there's these stories, folklore about the elves, and like one of them is they're very elemental, they're very forest-like, they're more spiritual than actually tangible, and they're kind of linked to nature. So they always have to have their feet dipped in soil, or they have to feel that, almost like a plant. You don't want to have a plant growing off of a block of stone or something. It can happen, but it's not going to be too happy about it. And you also notice that all of their weaponry, all of the metal, is kind of a goldish or a brass or a bronze. It's because, again, looking into research, the Fae folk do not like iron or any ferrous alloys or anything. So iron, steel, it's all gone. It's like, for them, touching it is like nails on the chalkboard, and silver is poisonous to them. So you're going to see, basically, they're all in gold or copper or bronze or something.
Chris, this looks like a huge world that you've created. Can you tell us what Infinite Tales? Now, Chronicles Book 1, The War of the Trees, is that its own standalone story? And tell us what that story is about.
Sure. Yeah. So there is a big universe. I mean, this is something that I did 30 years, but you gotta focus and make it something that is a complete and encapsulated experience. And that's where the War of the Trees saga comes in. It's actually a historical primer that could stand alone. You don't need to play the game. You don't need to know anything else about it. It's all, found within this closed loop of the story. And the story is basically the origin of the elves. It takes place on the alien world of Etheria, which is at war, or at least it becomes at war, where elves and dragons and magic are real, and the gods walk among their disciples. And it kind of thematically, it has this almost like being cast out of the Garden of Eden kind of feel to it, where we start off the story with these pretty people with problems, and they find out that when the gods, the ones that have protected them this whole time and have basically dictated every facet of their life, probably weren't looking out for their best interests. And one little act of defiance changes everything, and they suddenly find themselves in a world of stuff. And one of my friends was reading it, and he said, this book's really good for people who like elves, but it's also really good for people who hate elves, because these guys get messed up. It's got a bit of the old ultraviolence in it, and it starts off with this queen who has known nothing but pretty much been pampered her whole life. She's royalty after all, and the elves themselves aren't very fertile. They don't reproduce all that much. So when a child is, when somebody gets pregnant, it's a big deal. Like, wow, this is because these people live forever. So what happens with rabbits, but so they don't reproduce all that much, and suddenly we're seeing this pregnant elf, and one of the kind of societal things that's kind of weird that you start noticing kind of as the story unravels is that this is a matriarchal society where the women hold the dominant roles. And in fact, the other character that you'll see in some of the artwork, Kalen, he's a king consort. He's not quite he's not the regal lord. He's actually kind of just like her arm candy. And part of their society is they have this thing called the lottery, and the lottery gets held every moon cycle, and we're not really informed how long that is, because when you live forever, what's time, you know?
Right.
So in that lottery, the men's names are drawn from it, one from every one of the 7 sovereignties of this world, and they are brought before the gods in this ritual called the harvest, and they are eaten. They are killed. So it's, you know, when you live forever, it's like that line in Tolkien's Lord of the Rings when Bilbo said, you know, I've lived for 111 years or whatever, and I feel like a bit of jam spread too thin across, you know, and essentially that's kind of where the gift of mortality comes in. Is, I mean, I'm already old and bitter, and I'm not even. I mean, imagine what another, another couple of decades would do. But ultimately, though, we learned that, you know, everybody's been fine doing this or whatever because it's just the way, you know, the dogma. But the queen's son, who, you know, she's pregnant, she has this son, and his name is conveniently drawn, and he's only a baby, and it's a really weird instance where they're like, we're eating babies now, like. So yeah, that's and to top it all to top all that off, the elves themselves have never really endured like the betrayals of age, have never really had any of like sicknesses or anything, and she during the pregnancy and during the birth has these complications, and she started going into this like coma, having these fever dreams and these delirium essentially. And she started seeing this thing telling her stuff that wasn't quite what she would, you know, thought of as, you know, what everybody else has been telling her. And so I don't want to give too much away, but that kind of starts the ball rolling, and it puts things into motion that, ultimately the story becomes a tale of kind of the triumphs and horrors of freedom at the expense of comfort.
Wow.
So yeah,
that is an intricate story, man. I love it. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And now, so you're saying that's a standalone story. So like, you know, stretch goal happens and we can get book 2. That is a different set of characters, different set of story, or does it kind of continue on from there? Kind of like you leave it open.
Well, so the War of the Trees saga, the 10 books, is an encapsulated story.
Oh, okay.
But the first book is, I mean, I'm not going to say, hey, it leaves you in a perfect cliffhanger, so buy book 2. But it's definitely, it doesn't have the resolution that you would get from an encapsulated or an enclosed loop. So that's why we're hoping to get the 10 books eventually. But yeah, the first book is just your introduction into the world. And that's kind of why we put it out like that, is that, you know, to gauge interest. Like, is this viable? Is this something that today's market actually wants to see?
Yeah. Right. So Johnny Syfax is in the audience, and he says your work looks great.
Oh, thanks. Thanks a lot.
So is this your first campaign?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So now let's talk about. You know, you went for a lofty goal. So, and normally on the first campaign, people are a little more conservative. Why that goal? Where's the money going to? Let the audience know.
Sure. So the book is already done. So it's not there to fund the book. The book is actually sitting at the printers right now, waiting for quantities. Nice. The reason for such a lofty goal was I wanted, you know, in the spirit of transparency, like full transparency. I wanted to kind of show what it cost me to get this book out the door and into people's hands. And again, I'm not really, if the campaign fails, so be it. You're still getting the product. To me, this is how close can I get to this, to how much it's costing me. And I'm fully understand that it's the first book. It's an unproven product. I'm an unproven creator. I mean, hell, I put my name out there. I actually went by my full name rather than hide behind something, because I want to instill some level of confidence in users. And you're not really going to want to put your full name out there if you're intending to, kind of.
Dude, I mean, I would if my name is Fisk. That's a cool ass name, bro.
Spider-Man!
No, but that makes sense, Chris. That makes a lot of sense, brother.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't have any delusions that I'm totally gonna need it. This is my first unproven product, and 12 grand. No, that's not how it works. I wanted to show this is what it's costing me. We even have a digital only version. So it's, if you don't want to deal with the hassles or the $15 price for the standard edition, you can pay a third of that and just get the PDF. And just get it into your hands. If you like it, awesome. If you don't, you're out $5. I mean, that's like what, a burrito? It's like a burger at McDonald's now. Like,
yeah, no, it's true. It's true. I really like the featured book and card bundle that you have here, because for $23, that's a steal, man. You have 9 collectible cards, and then you have the book in its entirety. It's all full color, right? The book itself.
Yes,
Chris?
50 pages, full color.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's great.
Well, just to add to, so the cards, these little plastic cards. One of the cards, in addition to the 8 standard character and cover art cards, is the actual. I don't know if you can. Let's see if I can turn off my ring light so I don't get the nice shine. But I don't know if you can see that or not. But,
Yeah.
Okay, that's from the game.
Oh.
And on the back of it is the player skill language of Slithers, which is an ancient language similar to the way we treat Latin. Like it has a foundation in our language, but it's so old and forgotten that almost nobody speaks it anymore. But the kind of the beauty of this card is that it has this nice little key, and you can be sure to drink your Ovaltine. Throughout the comic book, there are sections in the story, like ancient ruins, that will be, players will pass, or the characters will pass by, and you can actually translate what that says. And there are characters that speak this language, so it'll be like an R2D2 or a Chewbacca effect to people who do not have the card, where they're just like, okay, it looks like it's a bunch of, but you get the story. Whereas somebody who has the card, they can actually translate it and be like, whoa, okay, now
That's what he said. Yeah. That's awesome, dude. That's very, very, I like that. It's very intuitive. Like, it makes you don't need the card, but you want the card, right? To be able to, figure all that stuff out. So that's awesome, man. I like that.
Rosetta Stone. That damn Martino. That's it. That's pretty dope. So this is your elevator pitch. I just logged on. I'm seeing this show right now. I came across this little link on Twitter or on Instagram and said, "What is this all about?" And now we got your attention. What's the pitch?
So the pitch of the game, the book. Sorry, I keep referring to that. Is if you're interested in sword and sorcery fantasy that harkens back to 90s Saturday morning cartoons and 90s anime with a bit of the old ultraviolence thrown in, like, why the hell did He-Man never use the sword? If you want to see Lion-O skewer Mumra with that sucker, that sort of omen, then this is a book for you. It's got all the hum of fantasy and the epic elements of what we've seen in the past, but it's a new story. It's presented in a way that it's not something that, I've seen that before, or this is just another generic Dungeons and Dragons. No, this was something that we created way back in the 90s. This is before the age of cynicism, and we're hoping that you really, really, really like a high fantasy epic story that, it's not your typical murder hobo story. So
Nice. Nice.
Love it. Love it, man.
Yeah, you know what's funny is that you just mentioned it. I never even realized it. You know, when you're a kid, you don't realize those things. You just said that He-Man never used his sword. I didn't, and never even picked up on it.
I'm like, Lionel never really did use that sword, did he? It just showed him stuff. That's all it did.
It's like he pulls out a sword and then he punches.
He's like, psych.
I wrote Black Rocks though with G.I. Joe. So like I love G.I. Joe as a kid.
Oh, I love it. You know, Streets 24/7 live on YouTube.
Oh, hell yeah.
It does. All the cartoons stream 24/7. But yeah.
And you'll notice it's blue lasers and red lasers and convenient parachutes when vehicles exploded.
Yes.
Right.
One of my friends on my 9th birthday got me a G.I. Joe comic book, and that was the rabbit hole. I mean, I went from blue lasers and red lasers to, oh my God, Storm Shadow just cut Bazooka's head off. Those are bullets, those aren't lasers. Ah! And I was like, this is awesome.
That's all you needed was a comic book. That's all you needed.
That's it.
Oh, man.
That's
Chris,
pretty awesome.
thank you so much, brother, for being on with us. We really appreciate your time, your talent. Dude, you are doing some incredible, incredible stuff. Everybody watching, you have to go to Indiegogo. You have to get this book. Listen, at $23 for that bundle, that's amazing. You also have
50
a lot of-
pages.
A lot of cool stuff. It's 50 pages.
Crazy.
Full color. I mean,
Full
come on.
color.
This is crazy. But yeah, no, good luck with it. And we're definitely going to have you back on the show. We'll talk some more about the world and what you're doing, man. I love that background. That shit. I want to be in that room. I'm like, what is going on back there, dude? But yeah, no, thank you so much for coming on, my brother. And then good luck with everything.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You got it,
You got
buddy.
it, man. Take care.
Peace. Yeah, so that was Michael's not setting me up this time. How about just pledging because it's quality stuff, you know, Mr. Extortionist. He's an extortionist. You know, I want you to sing.
He's like, I will.
I want you to sing. it's like, yeah. But first, you know, I'm giving off and you can't refuse.
You know, he likes the voice.
Yes, you know, maybe tomorrow on the live show. You see what I gotta do to get a pledge over here?
Things you gotta do.
Yes,
bro.
maybe at the live show tomorrow. I'll sing. I'll drink some lemon juice tonight. But
listen, Chris Fisk, my man, this is an incredible. He's got an incredible story, man, and not
Fantastic.
just what he created, but his life story. Like to overcome all of that stuff and do what he's doing right now.
right,
It's
I mean, he was determined. He was focused. Even when the companies he worked for wouldn't even, support his idea. He decided to take his idea, his passion into his own hands. And, and that's, when you only get one shot on this planet, what are you going to do with that shot, right? So at least he's going to say, be able to answer his own questions, what if, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to have to go to the next life with what ifs. I could have, what if I did this? Or what if I did that? And that's fascinating. Not only that, but struggling with some of the things that he's struggling with, and I know because I live with it every day because my wife also struggles with it. When you're able to still overcome adversity and really focus on what you love to do, it makes it that much special. That's what
It becomes your superpower.
Yeah.
Bro. Like, you know what I mean? The fact that the dyslexia didn't do anything other than
empower,
read,
motivate,
read more
Yeah.
and more, learn Latin.
Yeah.
And knows Latin.
Yeah.
Like it's an incredible story.
Shit, the only second language I know is Ebonics.
Bro, if I didn't come here when I was 7 years old, I'd never speak 2 languages. Are you kidding me? I suck at language. It is just terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, awesome stuff. Infinitale Chronicles, The War of the Trees, book number 1. Make sure you go to Indiegogo. Check that out.
Yes.
The link is in the chat and in the description below. So please go there. Support our independent artists. What are these guys doing?
Then Johnny, he decides to go to My Little Pony. I got your pony right here, buddy. Right?
Wow.
And so Chris says, hey man, we're not getting out of this one alive. Might as well do everything we can to leave a mark. Exactly.
Right.
The mark I'm going to leave is on Johnny's forehead. But yes, I will ask him, do we need book zero of Infinity War? Wise guy. Hey, whoop, 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 whoop. This is what I get. There's no respect, I tell you. No respect at all.
No respect.
But yeah, no, so it was a really good night. Two talented creators. Both of them have Indiegogos going on right now. Again, the links on the profile.
And you know what? I'll say one more thing about both of them. This campaign does not make or break that book. In the sense that you are getting it regardless.
Yes.
Like, you're getting the book. This isn't the campaign to fund it. Oh, if he doesn't get to the 12 G's, I'll never get this book.
Right.
Yes, you will. Like you said, it's at the printers. He's just waiting for how many do we need.
Well, exactly. I mean, and that's why I did the backup campaign for Forbidden on Indiegogo. I didn't make the goal on Indiegogo for the backup campaign. It was just really for the people who won't go to Kickstarter, who wanted to get it on Indiegogo. And so, they got their books. I didn't make the goal, but they got their books. Well, they're getting their books. It's going out this week. And, yeah, so I think, again, proof is in the pudding. You put the work in. It's ready. It's rare when you have the product already ready, just waiting for you to want to go. So if you can all go out there tonight and retweet, repost, tag, share with a friend, check this out. I mean, you're giving all your money to the Politos of the world and the Tucci's of the world. How about some of the little guys? Share some of that love. Pledge, back up these talented creators. And if you haven't subscribed to Catch the Craze podcast, please subscribe today. We are on the road to 1,000, and we want to get monetized. And every new member is one more person that our indie creators are reaching when they come on this show. So we do this because we want to give a greater audience for these independent creators, the unsung heroes that are out there working every day, multiple jobs, going out, putting their heart into their passion. And, and we've been doing this since 06, 05. And so, we're not a fly-by-night. We're here for the long haul. So help us, help them, and let's grow together. Again, if you like this episode, give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Share it with a friend. If you have any questions for Mr. Fisk, put it in the comments below. And let's get those algorithms working.
That's right. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll be back tomorrow live.
Live tomorrow, 8 p.m.
Johnny, you're on. Are you on? Are you going to be on? I don't even know.
I don't even know if Johnny's showing up tomorrow, but
Nino will be on. I already spoke to him. So
Arroyos Compollos.
It'll be us. We'll be talking some more tomorrow.
We'll be talking some smack.
Yeah, about what's going to happen November 1st and
we're going to be talking about San Martino. And that's right. You're going to get him to dance. So with that said, I am Sam the Crazy Man Vera.
George the Dreamer Medina.
And we are out.
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy. Acquiesce.
No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met him
Say my name,
right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh,
He described me. He said, I'm the...
What? Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. Listening to Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.